The following is an EHC media production.
You can't just say, hey, I'm a wrestler. There has to be a lot of work involved and a lot of training.
This is really what I should be doing.
He is known as Big Thing.
Big Thing? It should be Big Fat Thing!
I don't know how this loser got a shot with me. I'm the champ.
It's all over for you.
I'm gonna make you sorry you ever stepped in the ring.
Join two regular guys as they try to break into big-time professional wrestling. Rent or buy this hilarious comedy at FloridaBushLeagueWrestling.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 12 of WHENXT, your weekly who, what, when, where, why, how, what's going on in the world of WHENXT. Do you wear white after Labor Day or do you not wear brown? What's the reasoning behind that? And did you know that Taco Bell is selling french fries now? Just a few extra questions I like to throw in there afterwards. But anyway, how you guys doing? Thanks for joining me here. And this week's episode of NXT was pretty cool. Had a lot of cool things go on. Along with that, had some great signings to the Performance Center. And, I'm quite excited to go into it here. I usually like to ramble and kind of BS about what's going on in my life. And, not really much is going on with me. Just kind of enjoying the new year here. I got to go to the Los Angeles Arboretum with my girlfriend. She always takes me to all these awesome places. Just places I've just never imagined of. Just she's taking me to places where I felt like I've been in a screensaver on a computer. Just amazing landscapes and beaches and beautiful hiking trails and mountain trails and stuff like that. When she took me to the Arboretum, this past 3-day weekend, and I saw peacocks just kind of walking around. So that was pretty cool. Reminded me of Charlotte and just the natural beauty and awesomeness of just a fucking peacock right there in front of you. It was pretty cool. So, excuse my language, but I was pretty excited. And I'm excited to do this episode. So thanks for coming on in and joining me here. If this is your first episode, thanks for giving me a shot. And if this is your second or beyond, hey, thanks for coming back. Not gonna waste your time, so let's go right back into the show here. First off, the show opened with a match, Heavy Machinery against Tino Sabatelli and Riddick Moss. Otis Dozovic is a big motherfucker. He's just thick everywhere. He reminds me of Taz. Taz was just real short and stout, was just real built, suplexing dudes all over the place. But Otis Dozovic is no Taz. Otis has this humor and this ability to do the worm and juck and jive and dance and also just be a monster in the ring all at the same time. And it's very captivating. This match starts and he just begins to flex his strength against Tino as they face off in the match. And Tino answers back with a beautiful drop kick. He always has these and they're very reminiscent of how Randy Orton would, come in with his career and have these amazing drop kicks. I always thought that he had the best drop kick in the business, Randy Orton. Tucker Knight tags in, and he does a front face lock giant swing to Tino, and I've never seen this done before. Someone take another wrestler, get a front face lock on them, and do the giant swing with their feet off the ground. This is pretty cool. Otis is talking trash and saying all that gibberish like he usually does out on the apron, and it's funny. I like this little gimmick that they have going on. They're a really entertaining tag team to see. Riddick Moss tags in, and Percy and Nigel are going at it on commentary. Nigel corrects Percy in a little exchange they have back and forth, saying that Heavy Machinery made a mistake. They were kind of boasting about, them getting the upper hand, and they let the stronger, freshest competitor and Riddick Moss get, tagged into the match. And Percy is sitting there at the desk due to his lack of in-ring knowledge. This is what Nigel is telling him. He's like, well, you're sitting here because, you don't know anything about being in the ring. So just shut up and watch the match, dude. It's pretty funny. Moss gets a front face lock giant swing for his troubles as well. And then Otis hits a worm into an elbow drop on Riddick Moss. again, there goes the entertaining factor in this tag team. And, they're marching around the ring like the Bushwhackers have done in the past. And they really put a lot of flash into their game, and it's different. I haven't seen a tag team as big as these guys do this. You see a team like this, and you think that Vince would want to just stick them to be serious and just throw dudes around, but their sense of humor. And they had a vignette when, like last month, they had Otis yelling at Tino and Riddick in the parking lot. He tried to pick up their Maserati and move it so someone else could park there. So, pretty funny stuff. As the match went on, Tino ran interference, distracting Otis while he was working on Riddick Moss, and this allowed Moss to get the tag back in. But the upper hand didn't stay with that team very long as Otis escaped a submission with a belly-to-back suplex. Hot tag to Tucker Knight, who dominated with a large arm drag to Tino and a clothesline taking Tino out of the ring. And then right here, Riddick Moss rode up Tucker Knight with his feet on the ropes to steal the victory. And this was, a really good match. And Tino and Riddick went ahead and stole it here. They, kind of had the smirks on their face. They waited until the ref got distracted and was out of position for Moss to get his feet up on the ropes. And that was a pretty good way they went about that. They were really smart in how they pulled that off. They didn't make Otis and Tucker look weak and like taking a nasty move or just kind of being outsmarted. They waited until the referee was the one who was outsmarted and out of position to get, kind of put over here in a bad way. But hey, this is a good victory for them. They've had a few victories here and there. Let's hopefully see this evolve into something. There are some tag teams on the horizon. We saw a tag team return later tonight. I can't wait to get into that. So good for them, but honestly, I think the wrong team won here. I am honestly, I have a bias. I would love to see Heavy Machinery get some more opportunities at the Tag Team Championship. They have a lot of charisma. They have a lot of talent behind them. I think they've been around for a while. And to put them in the mix with these other tag teams that are vying for the NXT Tag Team Championship, that's not a mistake. But what experience does this give Tino and Riddick with the victory? I'm not really sure. They didn't really pull off a flashy move or do anything. They used their character. They used their heel persona to pull one over, and they did what a heel would do to win the match. And it's very common, and it's very just kind of blasé. And yeah, I wasn't happy with the way this went, but good for them. Hey. Backstage vignette with Adam Cole cutting a fiery promo on his match, an Extreme Rules match with Aleister Black at the TakeOver event in Philadelphia. Great words from him. This was the best promo I've seen from Adam Cole so far in NXT. The tag champs, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, they boast about their success and they say they'll defeat their challengers, whoever they will be. And Aleister Black had a very cool vignette, a montage of his matches, him backstage with his candles, doing his martial arts fighting, and a highlight of his previous match with Adam Cole and how the Undisputed Era pulled him out of his NXT Championship match and interfered, and giving you a good background into why these guys are fighting. The words that Aleister Black are saying, and just the passion and the anger in his voice. Very good promo we cut and made me excited for the match. And this is a great way to have Aleister Black cut a promo without him being in the middle of the ring with a microphone like everybody else. Just have him in a dark promo with, candles and just a montage of the destruction and havoc that he can bring to his challengers. That's pretty cool. So they handled that well. Coming back from commercial break, they advertised Roderick Strong against Fabian Eichner, and I was pretty stoked to see this. Big fan of both these guys. I don't know if they had a match in the past, but these guys are awesome competitors. Not a complaint about either one of them. Roderick Strong, he's been around for a while. Fabian Eichner, I voted him my future star to look out for. I forgot the name of the freaking award already, but he was my guy to pick for 2018 to do big things. But the way this match went, I don't know if they have the same sort of foresight that I do. The power slams and pop-up power slams that Fabian Eichner delivered showed his great strength. He's on fire here, and Roderick Strong's resiliency to separate himself with his strikes and grapples that just he would seem to catch Eichner. Eichner would be coming at him fast, and he'd catch him, grab his knee, hook his leg, like he'd catch him in a spider web, and he would hook him in for a backbreaker out of nowhere. And then, this came to a screeching halt. Fabian Eichner went for a springboard off the ropes from the apron into the ring, and Roderick Strong caught him with a half Nelson backbreaker. Roderick Strong then put Fabian Eichner into the stronghold, which is pretty much a lion tamer. It's a double leg Boston crab, but he puts his knee into the upper back of his opponent, and Eichner taps out. This was like a 3 or 4 minute match, and that's pretty disappointing. A quick tap out, and these guys really could have went. But I guess the main purpose in this was the promo that Roderick Strong cut at the end of this. He repeated some of the promo that Lars Sullivan cut last week, saying that he admired the magnificent force that he's never encountered before, but he wants to take great joy in destroying it. And he calls out Lars Sullivan. But where does this leave Fabian? He just kind of lost. Will he pop up in a few weeks and face someone else and lose? That sucks. This was supposed to be a good match. But as far as this program with Roderick Strong and Lars Sullivan goes, where does this leave Killian Dane? I really wanted to see him get a singles match with Lars. And will a triple threat match between Lars and Killian and Roderick Strong accomplish? What will that be for? There's no secondary championship to fight for. Will they fight for a number one contendership for the NXT championship match? Who knows? It's just, I don't like having these multi-man matches in the WWE just for nothing. Let's eliminate that. I'm so sick of seeing just one-on-one and 6-man matches and 8-man matches and fatal 5-ways. I just like to see good one-on-one matches. Nothing wrong with that. They have a pretty cool promo for TM61, Nick Miller and Shane Thorne. These guys have been out for a while. They've been stricken by the injury bug, for quite a while, in and out of NXT, but this tag team was a part of the NXT environment that really made me fall in love with the product. These guys can go, and I remember watching them, and they put on phenomenal matches. They've been in a lot of the Fatal 4-Way matches, as much as I've hated them, but, maybe not Fatal 4-Way matches, but a lot of the multi-tag matches and just one-on-one tag matches they've had in the past with the tag teams from NXT that have kind of come and gone. But, I'd like to go back and pick out some of their matches they put on and remember. I'm sure they've had some matches with the Revival and some other tag teams that I can't quite recall at the second. But TM61, they're a great tag team to look for. This package they had detailed how Harley Race helped call WWE and get tryouts for them. He would call WWE for, days on end, and finally he would get through to them and get these 2 scrawny kids, a tryout. And talked about their success in Japan and, just how great they were. And I'm going to do that for you guys. Next week I'm going to bring back some TM61 matches for you guys to check out. Some of the tag teams they've fought in the past. I believe they've been in the ladder match. I don't know if they've been champions. I sound so awful right now, but it's late. But TM61, they're coming back. That's awesome. This was a great insight into their career and a little bit about how they met and who they are. A great way to reintroduce them to the fans and a great way to introduce them to new fans who've never seen them before. They deserve a great run with the tag team championships over anyone, with the history they've put into NXT. I really, truly believe that, and I'm very excited for their comeback. Part 2 for their little story. They've done this with Hideo Itami before. I believe they've done this with Finn Balor. I'm just kind of going back into their history, just taking a few weeks to kind of keep them off of television and revisit where they came from, and it's cool. I like this first part. It makes you care about them. They did this with Roderick Strong too, so hopefully this puts some interest into them when they get back there. Next match was Lacey Evans against Aaliyah, and they traded off a lot of technical offense in the beginning, and then, the green ability of these two competitors came out. Lacey used her long legs well and often to escape a lot of holds, but ultimately there weren't too many impressive spots in this match. Aaliyah got seated in the corner in one spot, and Lacey pretty much did a handstand on the top rope and turned it into a super Bronco Buster. Eventually there was a jawbreaker from Lacey into a super right hand, a big show like right hand, and Morrow just gawked at this right hand on commentary and sold it very well. And Lacey Evans, this Marine mother who was introduced to the WWE universe in the Mae Young Classic. She dresses like a Marine, has the high-waisted, trunks, a sailor-like outfit on top, like a red bow tie tied at the chest, red lipstick, pin-up like hair. Real classic look, and she's really pretty, and she had a lot of good matches in the Mae Young Classic. I think she made it past the first round, definitely, and she looked okay here, but this was a decent match. Aaliyah and Lacey kind of botched a spot or two, and they kind of slowed down. They didn't have an exciting, flying all over the ring, instant classic sort of match. These two did what they could, and it wasn't a terrible effort. I gotta give it to them. Lacey cut a promo and said that she thinks it's time for a sophisticated woman to clean house in the NXT locker room. She's working her way up the stage, and Shayna Baszler comes out to put a choke on the already buried Aaliyah in the ring. She's just kind of dead in the middle of the ring, and Shayna just kind of has a stare down with Lacey, who just kind of gives her the arena, just kind of walks off the stage, and Shayna walks in the ring and just kind of chokes out Aaliyah, who's already laying there in agony. And out come Ember Moon to save Aaliyah. She says that she wants to fight Aaliyah now, and she wants... That would suck if Ember Moon was like, you know what, Aaliyah, you're getting beat up so bad, I want to fight you too. But no, Ember is addressing Shayna, who escapes the ring and is now on the stage, and Ember says that she'll do anything to get Shayna in the ring. And she says that, you don't want to fight now because you don't have your gear. You're making these excuses. I'll put my title on the line, whatever you want. I'll beat your ass in this ring. And the crowd's chanting, beat her ass, beat her ass. it was pretty cool. So backstage, eventually William Regal makes that match official. It will be Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. And William Regal says he made that match against his better judgment, but then Zelina Vega barges in and says that, Johnny Gargano doesn't deserve a shot, and maybe Velveteen Dream should have got that opportunity instead. I don't really know why Zelina has such an issue with Johnny Gargano getting this opportunity. He won a few matches, and he got the shot fair and square, but, they're trying to say, hey, William, if you want Andrade Cien Almas to go in there and just have a one-sided match and just beat the hell out of Johnny Gargano and not have a competitive match, then fine. But maybe you should consider putting Velveteen Dream in there against Johnny Gargano and seeing if Gargano deserves to be in that spot, because, Andrade would, completely demolish Andrade. So let's give someone else an opportunity to actually put a competitive match on. That's a pretty backhanded compliment to someone else who isn't Gargano. That's a pretty effed up way for Zelina to say, hey, this guy's nothing, let's get somebody else in there. So after that, we go back to ringside. The commentators are kind of rambling on about what's going on, and out comes Johnny Gargano, and he's pretty pissed, and he comes out and he says that he's tired of everyone doubting him. He says that no one will stop him. The crowd begins to rally loud behind him. And he's going to put his opportunity on the line next week against Velveteen Dream. His title shot. It'll be him against Dream. Sounds like a good match to me. Can't wait to see the contrast in styles, just the contrast in personalities. It's going to be an awesome match. Would they switch the match? I don't really think so, but I'm interested to see how it'll go. As I wrap up this edition of WhenXT with a very weak throat, feeling kind of sick. The weather's getting to me. I think there's a lot of sick folks at work. Excuse me for the express edition and my raspy, quiet, deep, monotonous voice here. But a main event here was Street Profits against the AOP, the Authors of Pain, for the number one contendership for the NXT Tag Team Championship. What I didn't like about this was that in the beginning, the announcer said the following contest is scheduled for one fall, and the winner will face Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia for the NXT Tag Team Championship. Like, girl, all you had to say was following contest is the number one contendership for the NXT Tag Team title. Like, shorthand. Come on, shorthand. Getting into the match here, which wasn't much of a match at all. Montez Ford was taken down early. You know, he was trying to fight back against Razar, who was very, very vocal and loud and aggressive and just kind of throwing him around. These guys just laid him across the top rope and just kind of wailed on his back. Like, they planked him on the top rope and just kind of beat on his back like a drum. It was pretty sad. They nailed a nasty high angle Uranagi, just picked him up. Kind of like Lars's freak accident. Picked him up, Uranagi just back of his neck and on his shoulders. Just really kind of nasty maneuver. Like, he's really scrawny and folds up easy. I don't know if that's a real good description on that. He folds up. But yeah, that looked gnarly. Eventually Dawkins got the hot tag. He nailed the stupid 360 Stinger Splash. That move just looks ridiculous. Who does that in a real fight? Like, you're not going to run at somebody and twirl and throw a punch just because it'll add some extra force to the punch. It'll look cool. Like, it'll give you style points on the street. I don't know. Like, that's just what the Street Profits do. But eventually this hot tag didn't very much go on to be hot for long. It cooled off very quickly. Before that happened, Ford never tagged in, but the ref kind of signaled the tag and let him in the match anyway because they had a spot they had to do. Dawkins picked up one of the Authors of Pain members for a spine buster, and Montez Ford came off the top rope for a nice drop kick, and this spine buster drop kick combo looked pretty cool. To no avail, the Authors of Pain recovered quite quickly, and eventually they got the Super Collider double power bomb middle of the ring with Ford and Dawkins hitting back to back and then landing for the power bomb. They hit the last chapter, the side Russian leg sweep clothesline combination on the Montez Ford for the victory. One thing they could go back here if they really want to get technical about it is that Ford never tagged Dawkins in. He just kind of stood up on the turnbuckle and got set up for that spinebuster move, and the ref waved him in, didn't really make a big deal about it. Nah, no one really noticed. But that was sloppy. I noticed. Damn it. It's kind of nitpicky thing there, but not really a doubt in my mind that the Authors of Pain were going to win. I think these guys need to come up after the Royal Rumble, preferably after WrestleMania, so they don't get lost in the road to WrestleMania shuffle with all the other tag teams and, you know, the positioning they're going to do. You don't want to see them thrown in a 10-team ladder match for the titles on Raw with, you know, I made my point earlier with that. But that's NXT, really. They decided that championship match It looks like if Sanity doesn't come back, they were supposed to originally get the championship opportunity on an episode of NXT a few weeks ago, but they were taken out. So I don't know what they're going to do. Will they come in and have a triple threat for the tag titles at TakeOver? Hopefully not. Like I said, I'm getting tired of triple teams and fatal four ways and stuff like that. You know, too much saturation in a match and whatever else going on. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into some hot topics for the week. First being the signings to the Performance Center. We have Ricochet, War Machine, and Candice LeRae officially making their way into the WWE. And the person I am most familiar with here is Ricochet. Huge fan of his work as Prince Puma on Lucha Underground, and the moves that this guy can pull off. Boy, let me tell you, if you have not seen Ricochet versus Will Ospreay, it was a very controversial match that had a lot of people going, hey, they're doing too many flips and somersaults, and it's choreographed, and it looks very hokey and fake, and it's exposing the business. And you had other people who just gave it, admiration for the sheer agility and athleticism that these two guys would create. So Ricochet is a big deal. It's a big deal that he's here. I do not want to see him pigeonholed into the 205 Live roster. Would he be a main attraction to 205 Live? Absolutely. But we don't need him there. 205 Live is a nothing show. The Cruiserweight Championship is a nothing championship. You're not going to have promotions all around the world competing and losing to a show headlined with the Cruiserweight Championship. Ricochet deserves more. He deserves to be on NXT in Full Sail with a lot of other up-and-coming wrestlers who are trying to establish themselves. A lot of great wrestlers have had a great run on NXT before getting called up to the main roster. I feel that Ricochet absolutely does not need to be trained. He does not need to be molded or taught anything. He may need to learn the WWE style, which might inhibit what we love to see from him, but hopefully that will not be the case. With Candice LeRae, she came in the Mae Young Classic. She's wrestled a few matches on NXT television. Candice LeRae is very, very good. Johnny Gargano's wife, and this is Mrs. Johnny Wrestling. She's a fantastic wrestler. Her matches in the Classic were awesome. I saw a match with her and Johnny Gargano, actually. They had a great intergender match. A lot of PWG clips kind of would just fluff up on my Facebook page, and I would see Candice LeRae getting destroyed by a man who's 3 times her size, getting put through a table or thrown through a jungle of chairs or something. So she's hardcore. She can go. She's tough. She's battle tested, and she's ready to go. I'm glad, because Candice LeRae is an awesome wrestler. With her on the roster now, in my opinion, I'd have to say that she's the best pure wrestler as far as an in-ring performance standpoint goes. I'd put her up against any female on any roster and say that she could put on a 5-star match. War Machine, I don't know much about them at all. I did see them for the first time at the Wrestle Kingdom show. Their match was great. I don't know their names personally, individually. So I am along for the ride here with War Machine. They look like a brutish, medieval type tag team. Hopefully they don't get lost in the shuffle with a lot of these big guys, a lot of these archaic Tuscan sort of gimmicks with tattered clothing, and barbarianism seems to be a gimmick they give a lot of the bigger guys, and hopefully War Machine isn't lost within that shuffle. I did get some feedback on the page. We have Moses asking how soon into Ricochet's NXT career does he become champion? Hopefully very soon. Andrade Cien Almas, he's a great talent, great name they're trying to develop and build. And you have to give WWE the benefit of the doubt. They do have some homegrown talent that they're still trying to put some interest into. They're trying to invest some time into these guys who were here before. So Andrade, I do feel that his NXT championship reign will not be a lengthy one. Someone like Ricochet could easily come into the company and take that title very, very quickly. But the WWE hasn't always been the company to take someone who's fresh off of a popular run and just give them gold. We've seen that with Impact and all of the 8 championships that Austin Aries is carrying around. What lineage and respect do the IPW and WECPX wrestling companies, what does that really mean? So, the inverse, I don't think it'll happen. Maybe within 2018, I'd absolutely say within the calendar year, if brought to NXT, Ricochet should win that NXT championship 100%. NXT has been billed as the third brand. They lost a lot of their hot stars and marquee talent. Ricochet is the guy. We still got Aleister Black there. We have all these other names that they've been working on. So to throw him in there with that mix, not a mistake at all. As far as entering the Rumble and jumping onto Raw or SmackDown around this time, a lot of NXT people are going to be in the Royal Rumble. Seems like it's a yearly thing. As far as a call-up after the Royal Rumble, I did want to see Authors of Pain get called up. They have what looks like to be a championship match at TakeOver against the Undisputed Era. I don't see them winning the titles back. It's either Royal Rumble or WrestleMania that the Authors of Pain are coming up. War Machine coming in at this time will be a great, great opportunity for them to do that swap with those teams. As far as entering the Royal Rumble, I'll give 3 names. Lars Sullivan. I don't know if any casual fan has an idea of who he is, but his appearance, the attention that he commands, would be a great addition, a surprise addition to the Royal Rumble. Someone with a little bit more notoriety, Roderick Strong. I'd like to see him get called up or even make an appearance in the Royal Rumble. Besides his NXT success and what he's done for this company, Roderick Strong, his name has always been one you've heard. And me personally, I knew that that name carried some weight. I haven't seen any of his matches until he got under the WWE banner. But now that I've seen him, now that I've seen how well he works, I'm a huge fan. And I want to see big things for Roddy. A Rumble appearance for him would boost his estate, would boost any efforts he's going to go for this year. So just personally and professionally, I think Roderick Strong would be a good option there. Third pick for the Rumble, someone from NXT appearing. Kind of hard because everyone worth bringing up into the Rumble is kind of tied up with someone else. I'd love for them to throw Gargano into the Rumble. And I'll say this, if Ciampa does not interfere in the NXT Championship match at TakeOver the night prior, Johnny Gargano would be a great choice to throw into the Royal Rumble. Normally, they would bring someone in, call them up, have them appear on Raw or SmackDown within the week. I mean, they've had Bayley show up to be Sasha Banks' partner for a one-off at a pay-per-view before she was officially on the roster. So, I mean, they even had that with Hideo in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal Memorial. So let's put Gargano and all those other names that I mentioned in the Rumble just to spice it up. As far as the Women's Royal Rumble, Ember Moon's going to be in there. Absolutely, they're going to bring her up, put her in there. Shayna Baszler has to be in there for sure. Big question, Ronda. Will Ronda be in the Rumble? Really don't care. If they have her in the Rumble, she should not win it. The first Women's Royal Rumble should be won by a full-time, dedicated, passionate wrestler on the roster who's there to stay. Last little question here. How about War Machine? How soon do I think they will take on Red Dragon very soon after they come in. That name is going to be hard to just pass up. You can't put them in there and have them wrestle jobbers for the first 4 or 5 weeks like they did with the Bludgeon Brothers. Everyone immediately is going to know who War Machine is. I don't know the relationship between War Machine and these other superstars and if they've met in other companies or if there has been a history. But let the crowd do the work. It's very apparent to me with the talks online that a lot of people know who War Machine is and they're looking forward to their efforts here in the WWE. And like I said, I'm going to be along for the ride. Anything I learn about these guys, I'm going to learn through the eyes of the WWE machine. So let's just do a little test here. We're going to take someone like Ricochet, someone like Candice LeRae, people I'm familiar with, and an act that I'm not familiar with War Machine, and just see how they do in a few months as they're funneled through the WWE system and see if they let them fly or if they're dressed up and put in a terrible looking Sacramento Kings jersey get up. Sorry, Cassius. One last question here. Emir, our fearless leader, asked me, do I prefer War Machine or Sanity? I'm going to have to go with Sanity just for the simple fact that I don't know a lot about War Machine. The Sanity gimmick, though, I've always been a fan of gimmicks and just personalities and personas that creep people out. I'm a huge fan, or I was a huge fan, I'm still hanging on, of Bray Wyatt and just his ability to make people uncomfortable with his words and his mannerisms and just the phrasing and body language and just any show or person or thing out there that has people question reality and have them take a step back and think, am I okay with this? Am I not okay with this? I dig it. Sanity has that element. Huge fan of their entrance. There's a part when they get right around the ringside area, Alexander Wolf always will look back and put his hand on the shoulder of Eric Young or Killian Dane as the aforementioned person would, walk in the ring. And it's just a little touch, I've noticed. And when they get on the apron and turn around at the same time, the fog machine's going off, the bandanas, as they come down, they turn around and do the reveal. Huge fan. And when the bell rings, they're all awesome. Eric Young, super seasoned competitor, huge fan of him. I even liked what he was doing in TNA. Killian Dane is making a hell of an impression on me here in NXT. Nikki Cross, she's crazy, she's hot, she's a great wrestler. So, not an issue with Sanity. Alexander Wolf, great competitor in his own right, was kind of floating around in the NXT waters until he got paired up with Sawyer Fulton, the ex-Sanity member who was released, I believe, some time ago from the WWE. And apologies, my computer went off. I owe everybody a beer. As Stone Cold would do on his podcast, I'm going to deliver. Not that anyone would cash in, but 38 minutes here in this podcast, if you want to redeem it for a beer voucher from your boy, I don't mind. Whatever. But as far as the hot topics and everything goes, I think that's it for this week's edition of WhenXT. I went ahead and ran down the episode for you. I went ahead and talked about some of these signings. I talked about some of these questions, feedback that Emir and Moses Marquez were so generous to contribute to this week's episode. So I'm grateful for that. One last thing I have to do is a promo, this little promo challenge that's been going around lately. I've been chomping at the bit and just waiting, rubbing my hands together, seeing who I get to cut a scathing promo on. And I get Phoenix Jericho. And I am just bursting at the seams with excitement. Gonna try to put together something a little interesting. I don't know that much about video editing and things of the sort, so it might just kind of be a raw dialogue. I don't need flashy graphics and anything to make my case. I'll use my words and myself, and that's all I need. So until then, catch me on the promo challenge and catch me right here in this spot next time for episode number 13, unlucky number episode 13, which will be the go home for NXT TakeOver Philadelphia on January 27th. I believe I may not have this episode drop in the middle of the week next week. I may just have WHENXTE 13 be the prediction show, and scheduled to join me for the prediction show for TakeOver will be the infamous Mike Ibeza. Can't wait to talk to that guy and see kind of where we agree, where we disagree on this card. I bombed last time with some TakeOver and pay-per-view predictions. Not gonna do it this time. I got you, Mike. Look out. But that's gonna do it for me. I've been your host, Brian Green. You've been awesome. Thanks for checking out WhenXT. I'll catch you next time.